Hello and welcome to The Voice. I'm Maxine Lang Seals and the other host is Clara Brett. And today we have a beautiful guest that's here. She is Miss Alma Banks Brown. And it was so good because Miss Brown is a graduate of the North Forest School District from Forest Brook High School. And just found out too that she has a play brother, Clara.
Who is
McDonald White, a graduate of Wheatley High School.
Oh, that's your alma mater, isn't it?
That's my alma mater.
I'm quite sure you would have brought that out.
She's done it in two places.
Right.
My alma mater, and then now my school district. And that's out here. Miss Banks is here today to talk to us about little Audrey. It says it's a safe place foundation, producing productive citizens in a nurturing environment. Tell us a little bit about that, Alma.
Okay, Little Audrey Safe Place Foundation is a nonprofit organization that was founded 19 years ago, and it initially was started as a transition home for babies that were born with defects, that were born to mothers who had drugs in their system. Our home was a safe place for them until a transition home, until they found a safe home for them. In 2007, I went to a class called the Pride class. I was an empty nester and went to the Pride class in order that I could house teenage girls with babies to break the cycle of abandonment for CPS.
Did you? I remember you talking to me one time, Alma, about your mother and Fran Gentry and some other ladies out here in this particular district, even much started this
AXO competition.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Miss Gentry was at that point the president of NAACP, and NAACP was starting a AXO competition. It was a nationwide competition that the acronym stand for African American Cultural Technology Scientific Olympic. And basically it was a group of teachers that got together and educators, and the children, it was a competition for African American high school students. They gave them scholarships and they competed in the Scientific Olympics along with the arts, so on and so forth. So Miss Gentry, my mother, who is Audrey Banks, Miss Turner, who was a teacher at Smiley High School, Elaine Williams and some of the other teachers got together and they started the Houston division of AXO. And that was over almost 30 years ago.
I remember one young man in this district, something about a simulator of an airplane or something like that. He had won first place.
That's correct, Robert Prather. Robert Prather won. He built the simulator. There was a lot of attention from the newspaper that was given to him. He built the simulator in his home, in his bedroom. Robert actually won on a local level, and then the kids compete on a national level. Actually, this year, our competition for NAACP AXO will be here. The national convention will be here, and this is the second year that we've hosted it.
And that's so great because when you think of AXO, you automatically think of Fran Gentry.
Oh, yeah. She was
Robert
great.
Prather, of course, I think he was also came back and worked in North Forest for a while.
Right, and he also built the simulator for the movie Soul Plane.
Oh, great.
So he's a very proud graduate of North Forest. Forest Brook High School, as a matter of fact.
As to say, we produce successful people.
That's
right?
correct. That's very correct.
We produce successful people. Alma, you also, we've been talking on and off, and you were telling me about the children that you help a lot, especially the ones that are homeless.
That's
something
correct.
Similar to that. They are homeless and they can get freed at 14 years old.
Yeah, well, actually, here in the city of Houston, in the state of Texas, my nonprofit organization again houses the homeless alumni of the foster care system who's seeking a post-secondary education. So once they exit the system, it's aged out or emancipated from the foster care system, these kids are usually taken through a class called the PAL class, and that class is called Preparation for Adult Living. So they can actually be emancipated once they take this class at age 16. They're given two $500 checks and basically a plastic bag, and then they're set among our streets as adults.
Does that sound right to you?
Well, of course it doesn't. At 16 years old, I was probably still running around outside playing football in the street with boys.
I know that's right.
You know, just trying to get it together and figure out what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be. So most certainly at 16, they're not. In the state of Georgia, they can be emancipated at age 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can raise themselves. And can you see a 14-year-old out there with $1,000 in their hand,
Well, no.
not knowing what to do with it but to spend it?
That's correct.
And that's not good at all, is it?
No.
I understand that you also wrote an act
Right.
for these children.
Well, yeah,
Something like that.
I helped to write the law that was passed. We petitioned before Congress for the DREAM Act.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
it.
DREAM Act, basically, it allows immigrants, illegal immigrants, who are a ward of the state to go to college, to receive the same benefits as the kids that are born in the United States.
Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, yeah. We're real proud of that.
No, where is this located?
The larger safe place?
Uh-huh.
We're at 2505 Southmore.
Okay.
It's an apartment complex. We have a great house, and what we do is we give them 3 meals a day. We give them a place to live as long as they're seeking a post-secondary education. We help them find jobs. I have partnered with the University of Houston, Texas Southern University, Lone Star Junior College, HCC, the juvenile penal system, and some of the other businesses in the community to not only house them but give them jobs. As a matter of fact, we were at an event, and I asked one of the well-known businesses in our community. We were talking and asked them or shared with them what I do, and they said, send the child over and we'll give her a job. So that's kind of what we do. It's not government funded. We strictly run on donations. Sometimes I park my car at the end of the street and I walk the entire block and ask each business to support us either with donations, via clothing, food, a job for the kids, a prayer. We ask for anything because these kids, again, some of them are sex slaves, they're prostitutes, they're homeless, they're on drugs. So anytime anyone or I get a call, either I pay their rent or we take them in and we house them.
So I hope that the businesses are listening to this and
Yeah.
will
And
come
those
to
that are
your
concerned
aid.
as well.
I sure hope so.
Come to your aid and give some type of support.
I sure hope so. We've partnered with a young lady called Maya's Closet, and what Maya's does is she collects clothing. And when we have a child that doesn't have clothes, we go to Maya and she gives them clothes. So
That's good. Y'all be sure to
fantastic.
remember Maya.
Oh.
Maya's Clothing?
Maya's Closet.
Oh, Maya's
Maya's
Closet.
Closet, uh-huh.
So Maya's Closet is located where?
Actually, right now she's in the 3rd Ward area.
Okay,
Her concentration is the Bel Air area.
but she is in 3rd Ward.
She's in 3rd Ward.
And all we have to do is find,
If you go on Facebook and look up Maya's Closet, that's
Uh-huh.
MIA''S Closet, you can give donations to Maya.
That's
Or
good.
you can bring them to Little Audrey Safe Place.
the largest safe place. All right, then, we will
I
do
think
just that.
Yeah. I think Miss Clara had the opportunity to come over
Yeah,
and
I
visit the
did. I
facility.
saw where you were getting it ready.
Yeah.
And we are looking forward to seeing you progress in that area over there with your children, with your young girls at least. Are the boys that are there too?
Yeah, this is a co-ed dormitory style apartment complex. And so we house not only the young men, but the young women.
Okay, all right.
We make sure they have mentors, and the community has embraced the nonprofit organization. So we're hoping that everything works really well for them. And our motto is producing productive citizens in a nurturing environment. So we're nurturing them also and producing productive tax-paying citizens.
Fantastic.
I know our president would be happy to hear that one, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah.
What do you plan on doing? Are you planning on having? I saw that whole big complex there. You trying to fill all of it up?
Oh, yeah, it will house 2 students in each unit. It's a 20-door apartment complex. And so we have actually not enough room for all the students that have already
Signed
sent
up.
in applications.
That's good. I hope you don't have to come out of your pocket no more. I understood you came out about $20,000 out your own pocket just to help.
Right.
And we're going to not only send you our prayers, we're going to start sending you some donations too,
That would be
honey.
great.
I know our listeners are looking, and whatever you can do for this foundation, you should. Our children are most important, and we cannot forget them at any rate. They are the future, not only for today, but of tomorrow as well. So we thank Alma for being with us today. You've enlightened our hearts as well as our minds into thinking about how important our children are. No matter who they are, where they come from, they are our responsibility. As the old saying says, it takes a village
that's correct.
to raise a child. And at this point, it takes the whole Houston to raise these children.
That's correct.
And we are asking our viewers to be sure to remember what was said. If you don't, we are looking to have you to call us at that number that you see on the screen. And we will give you more information about Alma and her children. All right? Now, I just wondered why Alma is here. I also know you're a supporter of the cancer breast awareness.
Oh, yeah.
And I am too. We were out there on Saturday with them. I see you didn't make it, but I know you were busy trying to do something trying to do something else there with your children. So, but I made it, The Voice and myself, and we were out there and we interviewed some ladies. You know, it was about 3,000 women out there with their own supporters and their family supporting them. It was exciting to see the energy that was there for the ladies that are survivors and those that just become cancer victims. And they have much energy, and they're thinking about how to keep cancer from the black women. They say African American women now, but we are fighting very hard. I think that walk was about, what was the name of that walk? Silent, not keeping silence. And you know, sometimes we be too silent about our conditions, and we put it off too long. And they wanted to make sure that the ladies knew that it is important. If you feel a lump, don't put it off. If you feel different in your cycle, don't put it off, but go and see your doctor. And they were telling me that the more awareness that it is, the better it is for you to survive. I talked to some women there. I guess they had about 10 of them were 12-year, 15-year survivors.
Great success.
That's a great success, isn't it? But you got to have which kind of personality you have to have? A positive. Yeah, you got to have a positive personality. And if you don't have a positive personality, it works out that you can't make it too well, huh? Huh, Maxine?
That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you cannot make it very well if you don't have a positive personality. Alma, what do you have to say? Anything different you have to say to us? Or you got something you want to tell our audience?
Well, before we go there, you know, it shows that Alma's a great big person in more ways than one. But Alma, let's just take a break for a minute. We're going to come back, and we'll have you to tell us more about Lil Audrey and all the other great things that you are doing in this city.
The Voice, Episode 6, Segment 2, in 3, 2, 1, and rolling tape.
Welcome back to The Voice on the Urban Houston Network, 43.5. And our guest, as we stated earlier, is Miss Alma Brown, and she has some fantastic information. As we were closing, she was telling us of some more of the activities that she's involved with. Was that with Little Audrey also, or?
Yeah, with Little Audrey. Well, first I wanted to emphasize, we have in the city of Houston and the state of Texas, let's start there, we have over 100,000 kids graduating and leaving the foster care system annually. Most of those kids, the mass majority of those kids will not attend college. They're not being taught how to fill out FAFSAs. They're not actually being taught how to go about entering into getting funding for their education and their housing. So what tends to happen is again, they're put on our streets, and they're put on our streets. They're in survival mode. So any way that they can survive, they will survive.
They have to.
My plea is that, first of all, when they're in the foster care system, that we do have more foster families that are not warehousing our kids for funds. When those kids leave, that are turn 18, are at 16 when they can be emancipated, they are warehousing them by getting another child there for the income. We actually need families that want to be foster families that will take a complete interest
And not just the money.
in those kids. Then we can decrease the number or the amount of kids that are homeless in our city. Little Audrey's, of course, survives on the number of homeless kids in the cities. But it would be wonderful if we did not have to exist.
Have you, do you have any type of data that you have used to see the success of those that leave Little Andre?
We keep up with the kids that we assist. Initially, when we started with just paying their rent. We then wanted to acquire a facility for them, so we're now acquiring a facility to house them in. But we do keep a record of all the kids that have come through our program that we've assisted that are successful at this point, and some of those will be featured in a magazine called Exalt Houston.
What is it called again?
Exalt
Houston.
And that magazine, I'll have a column there, and we'll be spotlighting on a monthly basis those kids and the things that they're doing, and just to tell their stories.
How often is that publication?
Once a month.
Once a month?
Once a month.
So if we get that magazine, then our audience can learn more about...
Right, about the kids that graduated.
Supposing there is a child that's watching right now, the show, and they want to call in, and they know that they are possibly being misused because they left the foster home at an early age. They might be out there trying to make it but can't make it, and they don't know which way to turn or which way to go. Would your place be that way? That place?
My housing complex will be a start.
Would be a start for them.
Will be a start. We can only house at that facility up to 40 kids. But we can definitely direct them to another, and we're again attempting to acquire a larger facility. That's 175 doors, and in some of those doors we have as many as 5 bedrooms. We'll condense them to 3 bedrooms, but again, everything takes funding, so we're waiting for funding for that facility also.
Well, that'll be good, because sometimes by flipping channels, they just might run into our program here, our show, and they would be able to possibly get in touch with someone that they can get out of the mess that they already have gotten themselves in. And by them, and I just want to go back to this fact that you said that they are able to leave foster care at 14
in the state of Georgia.
In the state of Georgia, and 16 here in the state of Texas.
That's correct.
And I know you said you disagreed with that. I do too. I disagree with it 100%.
Now they leave at 16, that is if they choose to do so, is that it?
They can be emancipated. When you're in foster care, you're giving an attorney, you're giving doctors, therapists, so on and so forth. The foster family is also given an attorney. If that child can prove that they're adult enough or capable enough to live on their own, they can actually be emancipated at age 16.
How are they going to prove that?
Texas.
How do they prove that?
Well, they're given a class called it's called PAL. Those acronyms stand for Preparation for Adult Living. And once they complete that class and they're given a certificate, if in fact their therapist, counselor, doctor says that they are, and their attorney, that they are mature enough to leave, they can be emancipated from the system. They go to court, that attorney represents them, and the judge basically, if he
no class,
sees
no,
necessary,
none of that. They just
and
the jury's determined, say she looked like a woman.
or a man,
Or a man.
or can pay bills, or can do whatever.
Do you have a job?
Right.
And if they have a job, then they...
Well, I don't necessarily, I don't think that's one of the requirements, that they have a job.
Really?
No.
I was going to say,
Well, at 16...
what is it? Is that the age limit they usually hire?
Can be hired.
Can be hired
on
at
a
the
job,
age of
right.
16?
But I don't think it's necessary, that's not one of the requirements, that they have a job when they're emancipated.
And how can they think they could live on their own? job.
Well, that's a
I
good
have one
question.
and barely,
And
barely
nowhere,
making it now.
and nowhere to stay.
I know,
That's kind of harsh. I think that is harsh.
You don't know.
And can you tell me whether most of the children that are fostered more black and Mexican, as we say, Hispanic sometime,
Yeah.
is that true?
The statistics show that a large majority of the kids are African American kids. Now, we do have a large majority of the kids in the Hispanic
As well.
descent, and also of Anglo-Saxon descent.
Yes.
Now, again, at this point, because we have a lot of immigrants in our country, we have Asians, we have Latino. And that's not just Mexican American, but that's
Right, that's going to be Cuba
Right.
somewhere.
But the largest majority of our kids
Savannah.
are African American. I also work for the U.S. Department of Commerce, and what we do is we gather the statistics for certain areas of the community. And one of the largest areas for the statistic that I'm most interested in are our kids. Annie B. Casey Foundation, and I'm mentioning that because Annie B. Casey Foundation will pay their tuition as long as they're in school.
That's a good one.
That there are requirements.
Yeah.
They have to, again, have 3 hours of education before they turn 21, and then they can receive a stipend for their college
Now,
tuition.
you said 3 hours of education. You're talking about 3 hours of elementary?
College, I'm sorry, college
Okay.
credit hours.
Okay, college
Right.
credit hours.
Before they turn 21, and at that point, they can receive their tuition fee. And
So they can do this in high school?
they can actually do it before they finish high school.
They can finish before they high school, and by the time they are of age to graduate, they will be ready to move into college.
Exactly.
And then they can get this grant.
Or they can leave high school and then enter into college.
Okay.
Now, we're talking statistics, so the statistical number for the kids graduating high school that can actually enter into college from the foster care system is very low.
Really? Because they're moving from one place to the other. Is that correct?
That's exactly correct. And then you don't have the same things that we had as children, parents that will, make sure that you're meeting the requirements for high school. And then, it's incumbent upon the school district to also prepare those kids, allow those kids to just push along because they are foster kids and they are moving from one school and sometimes one school district to the other.
And so they kind of get swept under the rug, per se.
Exactly.
Something similar to that. But if they are stabled in a place like you have, and they are stabled to that point, when they reach 14 or 16, is that correct? 16 here.
16.
When they reach 16 and they are stable enough, that then you will provide that care.
Afterwards.
After.
Now, we say care.
Okay,
but
now
we are
when I say
independent
care,
living.
I mean independent living. That
Right.
means that you will have people there be seeing that they are okay in college, that they are
Right.
fine, they are working okay, what they can do to enhance their ability to speak for themselves and talk up for themselves, and things like that. What we do when we go to college, what we need the most. And how to miss out on the other part of the college part, where we go there is for learning and not for socializing.
Right.
Is that going to be part of your?
Part of the grant, or part of the curriculum for our
Oh,
education.
sure. Okay,
Now,
good.
what we do is we partner with the universities. Also, the Hayes Center, which is the Houston Alumni of Youth, has case managers. A lot of the times, these youth will trust the people that they know, and those counselors are with the Hayes Center, those
Oh, really?
case managers.
That's
So
good.
those case managers are very involved in what we're doing also. I've been partners with the Houston Alumni of Youth for 8 years now. So we have a bond whereby if there's a child that needs something that I can provide, they send them to us. They come along with them. So there's never a point where that student or that youth,
Will get
young
lost.
adult, will get lost.
Oh, good.
The counselors at the universities that I mentioned before, and at the community colleges, and our trade and technical schools. Also, we've partnered with them so that we have a community, or that village,
Yeah.
to assist those students so that they will be successful and they will achieve their goals.
Wonderful, wonderful. I listened to how much you are involved in. Yeah, you got a full plate there, haven't you? What do you actually, what I heard you mention about your U.S.
Department of Commerce.
Yeah. Now, what all does that cover besides, because I know that something has to, besides your mother, move you to think about these children in the manner that you're thinking about them now,
Well, just
and working for them,
just the,
and giving
the
to them.
statistics. Well, to much is given, much is required. That's what I've always been taught. And as I shared with you previously, my mom's house was it was a 4-bedroom, 1,500 square foot house in Scenic Woods. And she was an educator in HISD. And throughout her years, there were so many people in our home. The children, her students came through the home. Even after she retired, the students still called her, Miss Banks, will you? And we found ourselves always in that. She had 7 kids of her own, and in that small frame house, we always had another family or her students or someone to live there. And we could, at this point, with us having our own homes, we could never figure out how did Mom's little house house all those people. But it became a safe haven for people. And if you're raised that way, you can't help. That seed was already it was planted, so you can't help do the same thing. So for us, it's normal. I did the same thing with my kids. I always had a child in my home and assisted them with doing something or succeeding, and everything was education based for me. My kids went to Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, and Spelman. So for me, it was, we're going to be the best and do the best at what we're doing. So for me, it was education. You've got to receive your education. I went to Texas Southern University, School of Pharmacy. I didn't graduate because I had other obligations. So that was pretty much it for me.
Well, that's good. The way you work so hard and the way you carry out your goals.
It's just a wonder to have a person as fantastic as you are. And I just say to you to continue being that person. And again, we go out and ask the businesses to please support you in your effort of what you're doing. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Oh, you're welcome.
And being our guest. And we thank everyone for listening today. And remember, you're listening to The Voice, the Urban Houston Network 43.5.
God bless you, and thank you for watching.
And thank you for having me today.
You're much welcome.